Chapter 1. It's Goddess Fomi's birthday, so I gave her a limited edition Labubu as a birthday present. There are only 10 limited editions in the world, and I have the 7th one. The market price is 820,000. She opened the gift box and excitedly gave me a kiss on the face. I was beside myself with joy. I thought I finally impressed her. But the next day I found a Labubu on a second-hand platform. It is exactly the same as the one I gave to Fomi, even the scratches on the box are the same. Listing price, 20 yuan. I sent a message using my secondary account, "Sister, did you sell it by mistake?" The other party replied immediately, and his tone was so contemptuous that it made me dizzy. "It's a pirated copy given by a poor liquor. It's embarrassing to put it in the closet. If you want it, I'll pay for the shipping." Is this still the Goddess Fomi that I admired since high school? The next second, her message came again. "We're having a dinner party tonight and all my old classmates are here. Do you want to come?" I rolled my eyes in my heart and said with a smile, "Come. Come and slap your face." 1. As soon as I arrived at the door of the KTV box, I heard bursts of laughter coming from the box. Under the colorful lights in the box, a group of people surrounded a man and a woman, shouting excitedly, "Give me a kiss! Give me a kiss!" Looking through the crack in the door, I saw a man and a woman kissing passionately amid the cheers of the crowd. The woman snuggled in the man's arms with a blushing face and beat his chest from time to time. This sight made my breath stop and my whole body went cold. I know this man and woman. The man is Zhou Lingfeng, who bullied me in high school, and the woman is Fengyi, my girlfriend whom I have had a crush on since high school and who just agreed to date me 2 days ago. Just as I was about to push the door open, I heard harsh banter coming from inside the house. "Where's Lin Ziyuan? He has been Yi's lapdog since high school. Why didn't he come to this party? If he sees Yi and Mr. Zhou together, won't he be pissed to death?" Someone raised the question. A few days ago I seemed to see him post on WeChat Moments saying that he had wooed Yi. Is this true? Zhou Lingfeng rolled his eyes and sneered. "He's a poor loser, how can he be worthy? I called him here today because I want him to know how capable he is." 2. As soon as I finished speaking, several classmates noticed me. When they saw me appear, a trace of guilt flashed in their eyes as if they had been caught. "Ziyuan, you're here." The blush on Fengyi's face had not yet faded, and there was no trace of panic in her eyes when she looked at me. I sneered in my heart and unconsciously tightened my grip on the gift box. He really knows how to act. She just agreed to my pursuit and confirmed our relationship 2 days ago, and now she's been flirting with Zhou Lingfeng. Now she can even greet me without blushing or breathing heavily. Does she really think I'm a fool? When she opened the gift box and saw the gift inside that day, her eyes lit up instantly. She asked me if it was expensive. I didn't have the courage to tell her that this Labubu doll was worth 820,000 new Taiwan dollars. After all, in her eyes, I am still the poor student I was back then. If she knew that I was actually a faceless gaming blogger with millions of fans and worth hundreds of millions, she would definitely be terrified. I had planned to confess to her after a while, but I didn't expect that she would actually sell the gift I gave her on a second-hand platform. She even got together with Zhou Lingfeng behind my back. My face turned pale, and I was just about to ask Fengyi what was going on, but Zhou Lingfeng suddenly stood in front of me and chuckled. "Hey, isn't this the poor loser Lin Ziyuan from our class? I haven't seen him for a few years, and he still looks so shabby." 3. I frowned and spoke in a depressed tone. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. Don't bully the young. Before I could finish saying the word poor, Zhou Lingfeng interrupted me rudely. "Poor." He deliberately dragged out the last word with a look of contempt. "You should be poor enough to know your own limitations. 10 years have passed, and you're still playing tricks on me about how poor you are but not poor in spirit. Have you forgotten how I blocked you in the toilet and beat you up? In my second year of high school, Zhou Lingfeng and a few of his followers blocked me into the bathroom. They said that I was overestimating myself and that I dared to like the school beauty Fengyi despite looking poor. They also threatened to teach me a lesson. But I sneered, of course I didn't forget. I remember someone eating a pile of shit." Zhou Lingfeng's face turned pale and he immediately became angry and embarrassed. "Stop pretending to be cool here." He was afraid that his fall into the shit pit would be exposed and he would be embarrassed, so he chose to take the initiative. At that time, Zhou Lingfeng asked me to kneel down and kowtow to him, and also asked me to drink his urine and call him dad. When I refused, he stretched out his leg to kick me, but I dodged it, and he lost his balance and fell directly into the shit pit. The smelly feces mixed with urine were stained on his clothes and head. Zhou Lingfeng was devastated, and out of anger, he ordered his followers to beat me up. Of course he would not tell anyone about such an embarrassing thing. But that's how we became enemies. Lin Ziyuan, do you think that a poor loser like you who came out of the mountains can compare with people of our class? You've worked hard for more than 10 years, but in the end you're still just a stinky rat in the gutter. 4. How about this? Zhou Lingfeng suddenly shook his clothes, put one hand in his pocket, and looked down at me. Kneel down right now and call me Dad. He slowed down and pretended to be generous. If you call me that sincerely, I might be merciful and let you clean the toilets in my company, with a monthly salary of 3,000 yuan and free meals. Upon hearing this, everyone burst into laughter. Someone banged his wine glass and yelled, "Kneel down. Call Daddy." Yes, today's dinner is waiting for you to say this. Laughter mixed with the smell of alcohol exploded in this exquisite and luxurious private room, instantly pulling me back to the shabby and stuffy classroom in high school. At that time, Zhou Lingfeng took the lead in splashing ink on my head, and Feng Yi watched by the window with an expression of reluctance. For a while I thought she was different from those people. Until today. She laughed and mocked unscrupulously along with everyone else. You can't do this. A clear female voice suddenly sounded in the crowd. He is the class study committee member, Chen Xinghe. She rushed over, her cheeks slightly red, but her eyes were full of anger. This is a dinner party, not a fight. She gritted her teeth and looked at everyone. How did you treat him back then? Don't you know what happened? Now that he's here, you take turns to humiliate him. Isn't that too much? No one paid any attention to her, instead more sarcasm was heard. Hey, Xinghe, why are you so serious? Don't tell me you're attracted to him? You pick up men our goddess Feng doesn't want. You have great taste. Feng Yi leaned on Zhou Lingfeng's shoulder, took a sip of red wine slowly, and a vague smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. No way, Xinghe, you're not really interested in him, are you? Chen Xinghe was stunned and her face turned red. Feng Yi. I suddenly spoke, interrupting all the noise. My voice was strangely cold. 2 days ago you agreed to be my girlfriend, but today you hugged Zhou Lingfeng and gave him a kiss. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? The air suddenly became quiet. Almost everyone turned to look at Feng Yi. Her expression changed, but she soon sneered and stood up straight, with sarcasm in her eyes. You are qualified to say such things? I'm your girlfriend? Are you dreaming or something stupid? You daydream too much, and I was too lazy to expose you, but I didn't expect you to take it seriously? You gave me a broken doll. Do you think I would be moved enough to marry you just because you gave me a pirated version? Are you a dog licker to the point of losing your mind? Her words, one by one, fell like a knife. Are you worthy of me? How can your meager income compare to any of Lingfeng's projects? You are such a tad unsophisticated person, wearing cheap clothes and drinking $5 milk tea. You are so unsophisticated, yet you still dare to pester me. Even a dogskin plaster is better than you. I looked at her quietly, with a tear in my heart. The 100 most common types of. This is the person I pursued, fantasized about, and held in my hands for 3 years of high school? Is she the one who said, the person I like doesn't have to be rich, I value the heart more? My throat moved and I was about to speak when suddenly, a warm hand gently pulled my sleeve. I looked down and saw Chen Xinghe biting her lip and whispered. Don't listen to their nonsense. 5. I looked at her, shook my head gently, and my eyes said, it's okay. Then, I slowly took out a familiar box from my backpack. That limited edition Labubu. I put it on the table and pushed it gently, and it slid right in front of Feng Yi. The pirated doll you are talking about, is it, this one? Feng Yi's face changed and she almost stood up. How did you get this? Her eyes flickered and her breathing became a little disordered. Obviously, she didn't expect me to bring this doll to the dinner party. Soon, her expression changed from shock to anger. That person is you? I smiled but said nothing. Wouldn't it be nice to return the things she doesn't like to their original owners? She gritted her teeth and said, you're trying to fool me with this 29.9 rubbish on Pink 60. Do you really think I'm stupid? If my friend hadn't told me it was fake, I would have believed it. I thought you were willing to spend a lot of money to buy me a gift. You're so broke yet you still try to imitate others in following trends. You've made me lose face, and you still have the nerve to take it out. I was a little speechless and sneered. Who told you this is fake? With the little money you make, can you afford the genuine product? This limited edition model costs 800,000 yuan, which you will never earn in your lifetime. I almost laughed out of anger. So, she didn't even bother to check the anti-counterfeiting code and concluded that what I bought was fake. Zhou Lingfeng, who was standing nearby, was delighted to hear this. He snatched Labubu, held it up and shook it towards everyone. How much do you think this thing is worth? 800,000? He clicked his tongue twice. You exchanged a pirated copy worth 29.9 for something worth 800,000. Can you really give it away? The earrings I casually gave Fengyi cost tens of thousands. He raised his chin. The skirt she's wearing now costs 8,000 alone. He paused, smiled obscenely, and winked at me provocatively. By the way, she wore this skirt when we had sex last night. That feeling, well, it's not something that ordinary people can enjoy. You don't know, she is very sexy in bed and her body is very soft. Laughter mixed with the smell of alcohol and dirty talk exploded in the air. With a winner's attitude on his face, he objectified Fengyi unscrupulously. What's even more ironic is that Fengyi not only didn't show any dissatisfaction, but instead pushed him coquettishly and praised him with a smile. You are the only one who talks too much. She smiled so naturally, as if these vulgar words were love words. At that moment, I just felt my stomach churning. I was about to show my purchase record when a male classmate suddenly shouted. Wait, this Labubu isn't a knockoff. It looks like the real thing. 6. Fengyi rolled her eyes and said with disdain, who are you trying to fool? How much money can a stinky worker like him make? Do you think he is like Lingfeng, casually spending hundreds of thousands? The male student was afraid that everyone would not believe him, so he took the doll in his hand and observed it carefully, and then spoke firmly. I'm sure this is real. I'm in charge of high-end sales at Labubu, and this is the only one I've seen. The whole audience fell into a brief silence again. Are you sure? Someone asked suspiciously. The male student pushed up his glasses and said confidently, I know the number on it. Look, the numbers are all hand-engraved by the official. Each one is unique. This is the 7th one. It is a custom gift from the IP owner to its partners. It has only been shown once in the global tour. The official statement said that it will never be sold on the market and will never be reproduced. So there will definitely be no imitations on the market. The ones that are in circulation are either displayed by collectors or... He stared at me with eager eyes. It's the one in your hand. Are you the God Killer Zero? As soon as the words were spoken, everyone was shocked. What, he is Destroyer Zero? The multi-millionaire blogger? Nieshan Zero has never made a public appearance. I heard that he is worth hundreds of billions. He not only owns a game company, but also hundreds of MCNs. Many of the popular bloggers with millions of followers are his employees. His businesses are all over the world. They looked at me in disbelief, unable to believe that the poor student had turned into a billionaire. Zhuangzhe, are you telling the truth? They all asked their male classmates for confirmation. The way the male classmates looked at me changed, becoming somewhat respectful, somewhat admiring, and somewhat fearful. That's right. It's definitely him. This Labubu was sent to the mansion of Zero the God Destroyer, there's no mistake about it. Seeing the boy's determined eyes, Fengyi's arrogance finally collapsed. How is it possible? You are a billionaire. Who are you kidding? I don't believe it. You can't possibly afford such an expensive limited edition? I didn't want to pay attention to her, but I couldn't help but sneer. This doll is... Before I could say anything, Zhou Lingfeng snatched the doll from the boy's hand and said, You stole it. This thing is mine. Yours? Fengyi turned around, her face full of surprise. This doll was a surprise I planned to give to Yi. I put it in the car and was going to give it to Yi later, but I didn't expect you to steal it. Fengyi showed a delighted look on her face. Lingfeng, did you really buy this for me? Zhou Lingfeng nodded and put the doll in Fengyi's hands. Yi, you have always been my goddess. I will definitely satisfy you with whatever you want. Fengyi blushed and immediately stood on tiptoe to give Zhou Lingfeng a kiss on the face. Lingfeng, you are so good to me. I watched them both singing the same tune with cold eyes. So now you're saying this is yours? Of course. Zhou Lingfeng insisted, where else would you get such an expensive thing? Can you afford it? I nodded, immediately retreated outside, and locked the door of the box heavily before everyone could react. Since you said I stole your things, let's call the police. 7. What are you doing? Feng Yi screamed. Zhou Lingfeng slammed the door in the private room. Are you crazy? Open the door quickly, don't blame me for not showing mercy to you in the end. Open the door. I smiled coldly, don't say I wronged you. The police will find out everything when they come. They will know if there is any surveillance in the car and whether you are the real owner or not. The police arrived at the scene quickly. As soon as the door opened, Zhou Lingfeng's face turned gloomy. He suddenly grabbed my arm and pulled me to the corner. That's enough, Lin Ziyuan. You've been pretending enough. Hurry up, take your things and leave. I shook his hand off. Didn't you say the things were yours? Zhou Lingfeng stared at me fiercely and couldn't say a word. Chen Xinghe walked over and looked at him coldly. It's right to call the police. This matter should be investigated thoroughly, otherwise you will really make up a thief. I looked at her, smiled slightly and said nothing. Labubu was placed on the table, and after understanding the basic situation, he signaled Zhou Lingfeng to speak first. Zhou Lingfeng took a deep breath and said stubbornly, I bought this to give to Feng Yi. He must have stolen it from the trunk of my car. The police officer asked, Do you have a receipt for purchase? I forgot to bring it. He avoided her gaze and his voice was weak. But I remember the characteristics of the packaging and the number on it. As he spoke, he reported the number. I covered my mouth and wanted to laugh. It seemed that the police had done some homework during the time they were on the road. Feng Yi saw that Zhou Lingfeng's words made sense, and she didn't know whether she was really scared or just didn't want to believe it. She raised her chin proudly and squinted at me. Lin Ziyuan, what else do you have to say? I turned to the police and said loudly. He doesn't have a receipt for purchase, but I do. Feng Yi jumped out and said arrogantly, What do you have? Do you have a record of buying on Pink Sixy or a record on a second-hand platform? You are still stubborn even at this point. You will cry soon. I calmly took out my cell phone and looked through the contract and transfer records. This Labubu is a custom gift given to me by the IP party. I am their strategic partner. Feng Yi sneered, so we become partners again? Zhuangzi just lied, do you think I believe that? You're thicker skinned than a city wall, aren't you? You won't cry until you see the coffin. Of course Feng Yi wouldn't believe it. After all, I have been keeping a low profile all these years and have never appeared in public. But what Zhuangzi said was true. I am much more than what they say, and my wealth and status are far beyond their imagination. I ignored her and waited for the police to check my invoices and purchase records. After the police checked, their tone became serious. This information is authentic and valid. The product and gift number match perfectly. It has brand certification and payment flow. It can prove that this limited edition Labubu is indeed owned by Mr. Lin. Feng Yi's face turned pale and blue, and she suddenly shouted, Impossible. How can this be true? Ling Feng, say something. Didn't you always say that you bought me a lot of limited edition items? Bring out the evidence. Quick. Take it out and hit him in the face. Cold sweat dripped down Zhou Lingfeng's forehead, his lips trembled, and he couldn't utter a word. Why don't you speak? Feng Yi's voice suddenly rose and her face became paler. Could it be that he really is? I took a step forward, and my firm and powerful voice resounded throughout the box. He can't take it out. I slammed the table, my eyes were sharp. I have. Chapter 2. 8. The moment the dazzling diamond ring was taken out of the Labubu doll, the air at the scene froze. Everyone's eyes widened. Feng Yi, in particular, turned pale instantly, as if she had been hit on the head with a stick. She stood there blankly, her lips trembling. You, how come you? I looked at her, speaking calmly as if I were talking about the weather. Feng Yi, to me, Labubu is just a container. The real gift is the diamond ring hidden in its body. But you are blind and you mistook a pearl for a fish eye. You don't deserve it. Feng Yi covered her mouth and swayed slightly. Why didn't you just give me the ring? I chuckled. If you had played with the doll in your hand, you would have found the diamond ring hidden inside. But you always believed in your heart that I was a poor guy who only knew how to give away pirated copies. When your friend said it was fake, you believed it and threw it back into the box without even looking at it. You even sold it at a low price. I held up the ring and glanced at her. You are not worthy of my love at all. Feng was a little unsteady on her feet. She stepped back step by step, completely unable to accept the fact before her. Suddenly she grabbed Zhou Lingfeng, who had already looked ashen, and raised his chin, saying proudly, Lin Ziyuan, what does it matter if you have a few bucks? Ling Feng can crush you to death with just one finger. Ling Feng, tell everyone that you are rich. Oh? Really? I raised my eyebrows and hit her hard again. I took out another photo from my phone, which showed Zhou Lingfeng riding an electric scooter to deliver food. Everyone present was shocked. What? Zhou Lingfeng is a delivery man? Isn't his family a mining family? Didn't he drive a Ferrari here today? I chuckled. The Ferrari at the door? It seems to be rented. Just before the police arrived at the scene, I called my assistant and asked him to check Zhou Lingfeng for me. A minute ago, the assistant replied to me. Zhou Lingfeng's actual occupation is a delivery man. His family went bankrupt 8 years ago. He dropped out of school before even finishing college and went to work in a factory. He owns no house or car, and the so-called luxury car is just a short-term lease signed with a car rental company. It seems that this is just to cope with today's class reunion. Feng face turned pale, and she grabbed Zhou Lingfeng's sleeve and said, Zhou Lingfeng, didn't you say your family is in the mining business? How come you don't have any money? How come you rented that car? Zhou Lingfeng felt like he had been stripped of his underwear and wanted to cover his face in embarrassment, but Feng kept pestering him and he lost all his arrogance. My family has been bankrupt for a long time. I don't rent luxury cars or pretend to be rich. Can you sleep with me? What about the Chanel and Hermes you gave me? Of course it's fake. I only make 3,000 yuan a month, how can I afford it? What about this dress you gave me? Fake. I sneered, the same model is available on 1688 for 250. 9. Feng's tears were about to burst out, and she rushed forward to fight with Zhou Lingfeng. Zhou Lingfeng's forehead was covered with sweat, his face was twisted, and he yelled like a madman, I'm just trying to give you face. Do you know how difficult it is for me? You're a gold digger who wants branded products for everything. If I don't fool you, who can I fool? Zhou Lingfeng, go to hell. Feng's face flushed red, and she completely collapsed. You've screwed me so badly. You deserve it for being materialistic. The two of them fell out on the spot, blaming each other, and the scene was chaotic. I stood there calmly, watching them tear each other apart like two mad dogs. The gun is hard to break, the party is friendly, the mother is strong, The police stepped forward to stop him. Mr. Zhou, you are suspected of falsely accusing others and affecting their reputation. Please come back to the police station with us. At this time, Zhou Lingfeng could no longer hold back and knelt down. Brother. I was wrong, I was really wrong. I was too short-sighted and I was blind. He cried bitterly and slapped himself twice. I shouldn't have wronged you. I just hate you. For the sake of our friendship, I beg you to be magnanimous and forgive me, okay? I looked at him arrogantly, didn't you just ask me to kneel down and call you daddy? Zhou Lingfeng was stunned, then slapped himself a few times. My mouth stinks. I can't speak. I don't recognize a great man. You are my father, I kowtow to you, please don't sue me. The classmates who were mocking each other just now lowered their heads after seeing this scene. They stood huddled aside, their eyes filled with anxiety and fear. I know they are afraid of my revenge. But I don't even bother to take revenge on them. There are too many people in this world who curry favor with the powerful. Getting angry with a bunch of clowns will only lower my level. At this moment, Feng came over with a smile on her face. Ziyuan. She lifted her hair, with a hint of flattery in her smile. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was confused for a moment. You know, I have always liked you. She was afraid that I wouldn't believe it, so she spoke anxiously. It was Zhou Lingfeng who lied to me. He maliciously slandered you, and I believed him. I'm sorry. Can you please forgive me? Haven't you always liked me and treated me as a goddess? I'm willing to start over with you, Ziyuan. As she said this, she wanted to fall softly into my arms. I just felt nauseous and dodged to the side, and Feng fell to the ground in a mess. Lin Ziyuan, you. I looked at her coldly, with only disgust in my heart. Feng, I admit that I have liked you for many years and worshipped you as a goddess. That's because I always thought you were a sincere and kind girl. But now I understand that I was wrong about you. You are vain, materialistic, sarcastic, and vicious. You are not worthy of my love at all. When I was young and frivolous, Phony was indeed the white moonlight in my heart. I thought that as long as I tried hard, she would definitely see me. But all this is just my unilateral self-deception. I worshipped her on a pedestal without ever really knowing her. I'm not worthy of your love, so who do you like? Who is prettier and better than me? I glanced at her indifferently and pointed at Chen Xinghe in the corner. Chen Xinghe stood there in a daze, his eyes clear behind his black-framed glasses, like a blooming white lotus. Everyone's eyes were focused on Chen Xinghe. Chen Xinghe. I walked up to her and looked at her deeply. Do you have a boyfriend? She was stunned for a moment, then shook her head, no. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, took a deep breath, and knelt down. The whole place suddenly fell into dead silence. Phony widened her eyes in surprise, and everyone else was stunned. Even Zhou Lingfeng forgot to cry and just looked at me stupidly. Chen Xinghe, are you willing to be my girlfriend? I said in a firm tone and with a fiery look in my eyes. I believe you are the one who deserves my life's trust. I have been paying attention to you since high school. You, who always speak up for your friends and never compromise, are the one I have been looking for. Chen Xinghe was a little surprised and stood there in a daze. I can't promise you. Why? Chen Xinghe regained his composure from the shock just now. We are just classmates, we don't get along very well, you don't know me, I don't know you, how can we get along? I smiled with appreciation in my eyes. But my heart was clear, do you like me? Her eyes flickered and her cheeks flushed. Although she didn't answer, I understood what she meant. I liked her even more. It's okay, let's take it slow, okay? I looked at her gently and she turned her head away shyly. Just as we were immersed in the warmth of the moment, Phony suddenly rushed over and snatched the diamond ring from my hand. Lin Ziyuan, you are deliberately trying to make me angry, aren't you? Her voice was sharp, filled with anger and reluctance. I've already apologized, why are you still unwilling to forgive me? She grabbed the diamond ring like a clown, her eyes full of jealousy and anger. I snatched the diamond ring back and glared at her. Why do you think you deserve to be forgiven? You've hurt me for so long. Do you think you can get me back with these tricks? I'm no longer the clown you despised. After saying that, I didn't look at her again and turned to walk towards Chen Xinghe. She stood there, with a hint of surprise in her eyes, but more of silent support and understanding. I held her hand tightly and took her away without hesitation. Behind me, Phony's hysterical cries were getting farther and farther away, but I had no heart to pay attention. I said to Chen Xinghe, come on, Xinghe, let's go sit by the lake. 10. A month later, the relationship between Chen Xinghe and I gradually became clear. During the time we spent together, I gradually discovered that her kindness, sincerity, and even her firm attitude towards the future far exceeded my previous understanding. When I invited her to my mansion, there was amazement in her eyes, but more of it was calmness. After learning that I was worth hundreds of millions and had countless wealth, her hesitation became even more obvious. She said, I'm not worried that you will look down on me, but I don't want to change my lifestyle because of your wealth. I don't want to be dependent on anyone. I kissed her gently and told her, Xinghe, your sincerity and kindness are more precious to me than any wealth. It is true that I have money, but it is also true that I love you. I told her that she would not lose her freedom by being with me and that I would always support her. Please do not transport this article by yourself. There was a faint light flickering in her eyes, and we officially confirmed our relationship. In the month we were dating, I was glad that I met the right person. I couldn't help feeling a little regretful. Why didn't we notice it earlier and ended up missing out on it for so many years? Xinghe smiled and said, perhaps everyone has to take a detour before they meet the right person. We quickly set the wedding date and I accompanied her to pick out a wedding dress. Phony, however, appeared in the bridal shop with disheveled hair. She looked nervous and completely lacked the radiance she once had. Lin Ziyuan, how can you marry her? I am your girlfriend. You belong to me. I pushed her away in disgust, protected Xinghe behind me, and shouted for the security guard to drag this crazy woman out. Zhou Lingfeng rushed over and grabbed Phony. Enough. Phony. Have you had enough of making trouble? You already have my child in your belly, where else do you want to run to? Phony struggled hard, and the two of them soon started fighting again. Suddenly there was a scream, and Phony rushed towards Zhou Lingfeng like crazy, and Zhou Lingfeng fell to the ground. Only then did I notice that there was a sharp knife stuck in his chest. The bridal shop was instantly thrown into chaos. Fengyi rushed out of the bridal shop in a panic. As soon as she ran out, a car rushed over and she fell in a pool of blood instantly. I heard that Fengyi's child was gone, and she was arrested for murder and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Chen Xingha and I stood there, staring at all this, with extremely complicated emotions. A month later, Xingha and I's wedding was held as scheduled. Chen Xingha and I exchanged vows and pledged to spend our lives together. Not long after, Xingha became pregnant. She auctioned the Labubu worth 820,000 yuan and donated all the proceeds to charity organizations. She said, "Such a luxury is not for me. Let's turn it into something more valuable." I said, "Wife, you are right.